Welcome to this week's Halacha Shir. The title is Not Disrespecting Mitzvos, and it is connected, as we try to do each time, to the coming week's Sedra. So Parshas Va'era deals with 7 of the 10 plagues, and Paro ignores all the warnings and disrespects the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore it's a good connection to this theme. It's based on a shir I heard once from Rabbi Daniel Roslar, and it's based on a Chaya Odom. Essentially, the Chaya Odom in Chelik Aleph Klal Samach Ches Sif Beis, he goes through various categories of disrespecting mitzvahs, as we'll see. And essentially, I just want to go through that to get it's very useful categorization. So let's take a look at the first box. If you're listening online, please email me at j.golker@gmail.com. I'll send you the handout. Says the Chaya Odom, Shaloi tihiyeh hamitzvahs bezuya olav. That a person, they shouldn't be sort of disgraced to you. The mitzvahs shouldn't be treated in a disrespectful way. V'yesh bo zeh gimel tanoim. There are 3 categories. Aleph. Here's the first one. Shelo ya'asena bekalas roish u'bederech bizui. That a person shouldn't perform mitzvahs with a light-headedness in a sort of disparaging way. What's the source for this? The source is Kisui Hadam. The Pasuk says that after you shech the animal, v'shafach es dama, you spit out the blood, v'chisohu ba'ofar, and then you cover it up with earth. V'kiblu Chazal, and Chazal, the Gemara in Chulin Peizayin Amud Aleph says, i.e., with that which you spilled it, you should cover it. Tahainu, kashem sheshochat biyad, that just like you spilled the dam with your hand, kach yechase biyad, so too you should cover it with your hand. V'lav dafka biyad, that al yedei kli, not only your hand, but also some sort of keli, some sort of instrument. Shahari gam hashchita hois al yedei kli, because of course the shchita was through a kli, was through a knife, through kli. And al afuke, it comes to exclude shelo yechase beregel shehu derech bizoyin. You shouldn't use your foot to sort of kick over the dust, the earth, to cover up the blood, because that's a derech bizui, that's a disgraceful way of doing it. And therefore, the first category is to treat or to do mitzvahs disrespectfully. That could include lots of things. For example, if a person's putting into a mezuzah and he's knocking the nail into the doorpost, and he uses the heel of a shoe to do that instead of a hammer. Or for example, Rav Moshe Sternbuch has a very interesting example of this. He says not pronouncing Kriya Shema, the words properly, or brachas, the words in various brachas, not pronouncing them properly, that's considered disgracing mitzvahs. So that is one category and various examples. Second category, box number 2, base. That the quality of the way in which you do the mitzvah should not be done in a disgraceful way. And sometimes a person will want to respect and honor his own body more than the mitzvah. You're worried that you'll dirty your hands or your body through a mitzvah. And therefore, a person doesn't want to get his hands dirty, literally, and he'll wear gloves. There's the criticism of the Kohen Gadol, the Korich Yodei B'Shiroi. The Gemara says that he would cover his hands with gloves. So the Gemara describes how that person would wear gloves. And therefore, his concern is more about his own cleanliness and well-being rather than the actual performance of the mitzvah. So another example of that could be the a person goes to a levaya, and the minhag is, of course, that after you go to the body is put in the ground, as part of the levaya, the concluding part is that people go and fill the grave, and that's part of the mitzvah of kvura. But if a person declines to fill the grave after the levaya because he doesn't want to get his shoes dirty, that could be an example of this. You're concerned about your own honor or situation more than the performance of the mitzvah. The third one is this, Gimel. V'chein osa, paragraph 3. V'chein osa lehonos min ha-mitzvah kol zman mitzvasa. The person shouldn't get benefit from the mitzvah during the mitzvah. V'lochein osa lehishtamesh betzitzis Kol zman she'em kavuim betalis. A person shouldn't get benefit from tzitzis. For example, let's say you've got a key and you don't want to lose it. So you think, hey, I've got a great example. I've got my tzitzis, and what I'll do is I'll tie the key to the tzitzis, and that way I won't lose it. V'chein also lehistapek minoi sukkah, or to benefit, or to use the decorations of a sukkah, which is in the Archaim Tofrei Samach Zayin. V'lechol ha'esrog lo riach ba'adas shel lulav, or to eat, or to the esrog, or to smell the hadasim of the lulav. V'lehishtamish b'ner Chanukah, or to get benefit from the lights, the candles of Chanukah. V'afilu lahadlik ner chol miner shel Chanukah, or to take to light a regular light from the Chanukah candles. Also, that is not allowed. V'afilu miner shel beis hakneses, or even the lamp of a shul, to use that for a mundane purpose. Also midina. The minig is to be makel, to use the candle from a beis hakneses and to light it for another mundane purpose. The leiv based in masna alehen, that we assume that when the shul or the beis din initially set it up, they did it with that t'nai that you can use it for that particular purpose. And therefore the whole idea is that mitzvahs shouldn't be treated in a disgraceful way. So that's an example, tying a key to your tzitzis or something like that. Another good example would be, can you clean your glasses with your talis? Now, that's an interesting question. So if you take a look at the bottom box, the Shulchan Aruch says, talisos shel mitzvah shel shebolu. If you've got a talis of a mitzvah which is now worn out, it's become, you've used it for many years and it's worn out. You can't use it as a towel or as a shmata for something. To use it as a shmata to clean spills and things like that, that's inappropriate. But you actually should just dispose of it. That's the most respectful way to deal with it. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, but if it's a non-maguna usage, says is Medayik the Mishnah Berurah, that would be allowed. And whilst you're wearing the tzitzis, you're actually performing the mitzvah of tzitzis, in Rishai lishtamish b'hatalis tashmish she'ena maguna, can you use it whilst you're wearing it? I forget who this stands for. Ayin Tov. I did look it up before, but I forget. Deshari, the dafka besitzis eisa hamechaba besif aleph ulahataz osa v'chein hiskim aprimagodim v'chosu the talis shel tefillah miyuchad lekach chomer hatalis kamei hasitzis. And the talis which is miyuchad for davening is chomer hatalis kamei hasitzis. The actual beged is got the same status as the sitzis. Now, all of that is talking about a talis gadol. So therefore, to use a talis gadol to clean your glasses is not appropriate. However, avol talis cotton, says the Mishnah Berurah, pshita, deshari, is certainly okay, lechol tashmish, she'ena meguna, afilu ba'id hasitzis olav, dehalavush hedyatu. Wearing your talis cotton, the talis you wear under your shirt, not the talis that you wear in shul, says the Mishnah Berurah, it's actually okay because it's ultimately a beged, it's a regular piece of clothing, and therefore it's allowed, and you're allowed actually to sleep in it, technically, and therefore it's okay. However, I have seen, Rabbi Rosla mentioned, that it's actually a machlokas in the Achronim, that Rabbi Yashiv, like the Mishnah Berurah, says that it's okay, because at the end of the day, people clean their glasses with their clothes. With your shirt, you can just wipe your glasses to polish them, make sure they're clear. And therefore, what difference is it between the talis cotton and that? And therefore, it would be okay. Shlomo Zalman apparently was more machmir. He says that ultimately you're wearing it for a mitzvah purpose, so that I can now perform the mitzvah, and I keep tzitzis on the four corners of this beged, and therefore he said it's better not. Some machmir not to. So those are three categories of not disrespecting mitzvahs. All brought by the Chaya Odom. The first is not doing mitzvahs disrespectfully, in a disrespectful way. For example, using the heel of a shoe to hammer in the mezuzah not instead of a hammer. Or, says Reb Sternberg, not even pronouncing Krishma or brachas properly. That's a disrespectful way of performing the mitzvah. Number two, concerned by your own honor or situation. So, for example, you decline to fill the grave after the levaya because you're more worried about your shoes or your trousers then you don't want your shoes to get dirty. And the third is benefiting from the mitzvah. So Ner Chanukah or using your tzitzis to tying a key to your tzitzis, that would not be allowed. Cleaning your glasses with your talis, so if it's a talis gadol, then you shouldn't. However, talis cotton, technically it's okay. However, some are machmir not to.